Hi, everyone, and welcome to Side Quest 11 of High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that thinks it's flying, but it's actually fallen with style. I am your host, as always, Mr. Luvva Luvva. With me, as always, is my co host.
The one co-host you can rely on, Lova, it's Tomahawk.
Well,
How are we? Well, you say rely
well, there
on.
was there was one episode you missed, the most important episode of all time. Some would add,
The one that
myself
clinched
included.
it. That's all we'll say. The one that clinched it.
Clinched it, he says. 32 points clear by the end, clinching it. An absolute steamrolled it. Steamrolled it, Tom.
We're beyond that now. It's close season. This is new beginnings. We get to reinvent ourselves.
That is it. That is it. And speaking of reinventing ourselves, we're far too lazy to do that. So high scores, high stakes is not really changing. What is it? Oh, I hear you shout into your device of choice, listener /watcher. High scores, high stakes is very simple. It's for friends, for PlayStations. Every week we pick a new game and we challenge each other in it. The winner of the challenge gets 3 points. The second place gets 2 points, third place gets 1 point, and fourth place gets 0 points. And then all of our points are totaled together over the course of a season in a league table. And whoever finishes top of that league table is our champion for that season. But we're not in season at the minute. We are off season. Season 2 is done, and season 3 is right around the corner. So, what are we doing tonight? It's really, really easy. We have thrown out the gauntlet on social media to other fellow content creators. That's who this guy is. Who are you, mysterious stranger in the square beside me?
Evening, guys. So my name is Andy Games _94. Thank you very much, first of all, for having me on the pod. It's been, it's been looking forward to
It's
this
a
for a while.
it's a dream come true. You can say it. It's
Yes,
fine.
it is. Yes, that's right. I just, I've got to be modest here, Chris. Like it's a dream come true. It's like this is, in terms of content creation, I think this is the peak. This is the peak of content creation.
I
Get
mean,
into
I didn't want to say
podcasting.
that, but you're
It's
absolutely
nothing
right.
but the crushing abyss after this.
Yeah, exactly. It's all downhill from here, of course. But but yes. So my name's Andy Games _94. I am a Nintendo speedrunner, primarily Super Mario 64. Love it. I know how much you love that game.
It's my favorite game of all time.
Favorite game of all time, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I speedrun that. I speedrun the main categories, extension categories, and more recently I've gotten into the mod hacks of Mario 64 just for like general playthroughs, because for anybody who's ever speedrun, they will know that it's quite mentally taxing. And, you know, um,
Mm-hmm.
having grinded out the speedruns I have, I just feel like I need a change. And obviously, as much of a change as that goes, I still play Mario. I just do it a bit slower.
I will say, whenever I do watch you on your Twitch channel, it's sometimes I think, oh, this is gonna be a nice, easy, watchable stream, and then sometimes I just watch the pits of human despair as you try and do sub 20 run. It's I don't know. My heart nearly bleeds for you at the same time, but I'm like, it's only Mario. Calm down.
I know, but the thing with that is right. And yes, I know what you mean. It is only Mario, but it's like, imagine that you're really good at something, but you can't do it consistently, and or what you can do it consistently, but then all of a sudden when it matters, you can't do it at all. That's why it gets frustrating. And just when you mentioned sub 20 there, like, so just for the context, for 16-star runs for Super Mario 64, sub 20 is like a good benchmark for getting just past that beginner stage.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me about 7 months, which is quite a long time. But I finally got there. I finally got there. I got my sub 20, and I haven't looked at 16 stars since, because it was the bane of my existence.
I would say Mario 64 is one of the banes of my existence, not a game I have any sort of love for. However, in saying that, I do remember watching the reveal of Mario 64 way back when on Games Master on TV, and it blew my mind. I thought it was the best looking thing I'd ever seen, and then I played it, and I instantly hated it. It just goes to show you, everyone looks aren't everything. Look past beyond the looks and see what's underneath. And many people will say it's one of the best games of all time. I disagree wholeheartedly with that assertion. I really do. But before we go any further into what you do and where people can find you, Andy, you find us on social media, and I know the people listening are wanting to know, yeah, where can I find you on social media? It's easy. Go to highscoreshighstakes.com, and there you'll find links to everything we do. It's still very much a work in progress, but it's getting there slowly but surely. We will have a whole heap of content there coming up soon. So highscoreshighstakes.com. That's where Andy found us. He'll say he didn't, and he'll say he knows Tom personally in real life. It's a lie. He found us on highscoreshighstakes.com.
He's a deep fake. That's it. He's
Yep, this is true. I am actually a product of AI. And I definitely find High Scores High Stakes on the website, highscoreshighstakes.com.
cool. Things you love to hear.
But now we know what you do, Andy. One thing you haven't said is where we can find you. So I'm presuming it's twitch.tv/AndyGames_94.
You presume correct? Yes, twitch.tv /AndyGames_94. I got my own link. I know. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, because I refuse to call it X, under the same username, AndyGames_94, because simplicity is key.
I mean,
Exactly.
I agree. And I have never gotten anything wrong in my social media links of this podcast ever. And
Never once at all. It's been
definitely
perfection every time.
I have never called this podcast by the wrong name either. That has never happened.
You call it High Stakes, High Scores by any chance?
Yep.
Low stakes, no scores. High stakes, high scores. Low stakes, mid scores. We've had it all.
High stakes.
We trialed everything, and the focus group of 724 18 to 60-year-olds decided High Scores High Stakes was the best name.
That's fair. Very family fortunes going on there. Like, we asked 100 people, what should we name our podcast? Our survey said.
Please don't. Save us all from your inane banter. So you are a speedrunner of Super Mario 64, Andy.
Yes.
That is the cliff notes of everything that you do. And you play mod ROM hacks, effectively, of it. What is your favorite ROM hack of Mario 64?
So,
and why?
At the moment, it really just depends, to be honest. Like, so obviously, sticking with the whole speedrunning thing, so my favorite mod at the moment would be Mario 64 Randomizer, which, I mean, I don't know if you've ever played a randomizer before, but, to take Mario 64, for example, it's like you go into a painting and it takes you to a random level, and the star spawns are in different places, and yeah, it's just a little bit chaotic. But what I find with that is there's so much you can do. Like, you can pick a seed number, you can like run practice routes and stuff like that, and it's good for speedrun. And on that, I actually, as of today, I'm officially a world record holder in one of the categories for 30-star randomizer.
Well done.
No way.
That's incredible.
It's I was absolutely blown away. Like, I got the record Friday night, and I got verified this afternoon, so officially on the leaderboard.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got a notification, speedrun.com. AndyGames_94 has beaten the world record.
Nice. Do they send you anything out, or is it just more of a here's an online recognition, or how does that? Do you know how that works?
Literally just the notification, just to say, and then other people on the leaderboard would probably get notified as well.
Yeah.
Like, I've been top 3 on leaderboards before, and that one kind of sucks because it's like you get the reminder every time somebody beats you. Yeah. Even if you're like sitting 8th at this point, it's just like, your 3rd place time. Remember you had that? Well, guess what? Not anymore. Now you're 12th. So it's nice to be at the top of the tree for a bit, like, so
take it
long may it
take
last.
it while it's
Absolutely.
there.
Yeah, long may it last. But like, say from like a non-speed running perspective, there's like so many different ones. Like, I recently played one called Mario's New Earth, which kind of serves as like an unofficial sequel. You just go through the different levels, but it's all kind of remodeled, just set in a completely different place and everything. You still fight Bowser 3 times and all, so same concept, but just something relaxing, quick, just to kind of run through. I usually like to kind of finish off streams with a bit of a mod hack playthrough because of the stress of speedrun.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair
Makes
enough.
sense.
So I cannot wait to watch the Summon and Salt episode on Andy Plays _94. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be lit, boys.
And he plays _94. Who's that?
Andy Games _94. I don't know what you're talking about. I said the right name the whole time.
Of course you
That's
did.
just rewriting history. And speaking of rewriting history, Andy Games _94 is here to try to make us another piece of history. He is shooting to be the first ever guest on High Scores High Stakes to beat the podcast. Many have come before you. Many have fallen, broken men. What makes you think you're going to change this tide of non-stop High Scores High Stakes podcast victories in these side quests, Andy?
So initially, whenever I was invited to come on the podcast, the first thing I thought was speedrun. I'm a speedrunner. You guys aren't speedrunners. This will be fairly, it's in my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did the challenge, and then I thought, okay, maybe not. maybe not. I might have made a mistake in doing this. I might have got a bit overzealous, and we'll see. I mean, I want to say I'm silently confident, but I don't even know anymore.
I mean, this is coming from the podcast who have done by the time of release, 33 episodes. We'll have done
Mm-hmm.
2 speedrun episodes.
Two, and that is it.
So we
Yay.
are. But you also have to take into account, I won the very first speedrun challenge of the podcast. Luvva here has won the last
Most recent.
speedrun challenge
Mhm.
of the podcast. So you're
Yeah.
up against the titans here. You actually have
Speedrunner.
This is a good point. I am up against the
regulation competition speedrunners.
Yep. The only two of the
Definitely.
podcast with official speedrun credentials,
That's it. That is it. We have our own speedrun records here, so we do.
'Cause even with the first speedrun challenge that you guys did, like I wasn't even able to match it. Like I tried and I tried, and that one was like quite a nice one to grind out because you could have sat for an hour doing it and still got out of it. But yeah, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. I sat there for many hours trying to beat my score. I couldn't. I was like,
I refuse to
bye-bye.
go back to it. That's it. I'm on
Bye-bye,
top. I
Crash
stay on
Bandicoot.
top.
That is
You're
the thing
dead
as
to me
well.
now, Crash Bandicoot. What man would have you?
That's the thing with speedrunning though as well, because like if you find like you not quite plateau, but like you get to like that point where you get to where you want to be, like okay,
Mhm.
this is a good time for this. You never want to go back to it because the grind is kind of like only so fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I love it personally, but like I'm not ever going to forget the times that I was running like 16 star for Mario 64 and being like, oh my god, I'm never going to hit sub 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I totally feel you there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not easy. It's not easy. That's why I don't do it.
That's it.
It's just soul destroying, and I'll probably never ever do it unless it's Resident Evil. But anyway, speaking of, as much as I'm loving the speed run and chat, I do enjoy. I love a good speed run. I love watching AGDQ and stuff like that. Let's get into the challenge that you have thrown in. So we threw out the gauntlet on social medias. Give us a challenge, give us a game, and come on the podcast and try to beat us. And that's exactly what you have done, Andy. So tell us. We know it's a speedrun challenge, but we don't know the game, and we don't know the level inside game. So tell us all the details.
Okay,
Fill us
so
in.
the game I have challenged you guys to is Toy Story 2, and
Yay.
the speedrunning level is Andy's house, level 1 of the game.
Mhm.
The reasoning behind this is Toy Story 2 was one of those few games where it went across Nintendo and PlayStation. And I kind of needed something that I wanted it to be a speedrun because obviously, as I said, that's my thing. But obviously, it needed to kind of fit in with the whole PlayStation theme as well. And that's where I kind of landed because let's face it, pickings were slim, and I definitely thought it was a good idea until I started running it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. So that is the challenge that I've set before you tonight.
Yeah, and it is. Well, we'll talk about it as we're watching the gameplay. It is certainly a challenge. So it is basically Toy Story 2, Buzz to the Rescue, I think it's called. Something
More or
equally
less.
generic. It is the first level of the game. It is Andy's house. Basically, we have to speedrun it, picking up the 5 badges, I
The wee
suppose they're
tokens,
called.
yeah.
Yeah, the
So there's
5 Pizza Planet
5.
tokens.
So there's 5 of them, and they will involve us having to do different things in order to get them. So here's the way we're going to work it this week. We're going to try things a little bit different and spice it up a wee bit of spices for the podcast palette. We are going to show Andy's games. You run first, and you are going to set the benchmark for me and Tomahawk to try and beat. So unless Tomahawk has anything to say about Toy Story 2, the video game,
I think
say we get going ahead.
I think pre-challenge work. I mean, there's not really much to speak about it. You've got 50 coins. You have to defeat the robot boss, pick up all the lost sheep, race the RC car, and then there's a mystery token.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot to condense into that that shorter level. To be fair, and a speed
Yeah.
run I think is gonna separate the podcasters from the speedrunners here.
It will have no doubt in my mind. It's definitely going to do that. Um, before we start, all I wanted to say is when I got this in, I was like, really? Toy Story 2? And then I was like, actually, I remember this reviewing pretty well. So I did some research. It reviewed really well. Really, really well. It got 7s and 8s across the board effectively. It reviewed well, and it's generally considered for 1998 a good game. So let's see how Andy has done in his speedrun. This is it. This is Andy's run. This is the game he's picked. It's the challenge he's picked. This is going to lay down the marker for Tom and I to try and beat Andy. I'm going to let you have the floor here, mate. You talk us through your route, your tactics, everything, your strats. Talk us through the whole heap so we can see how much. I've just noticed the runtime of this video, how much you have absolutely battered my time by. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
So,
like to be honest, when I was running this, I was kind of thinking like I do not really know what I'm getting myself into here. So yeah, start off the run, and I had to always check speedrun.com for
yes.
all speedruns just to see the rules, just to keep it kind of a thing. So for
Yep.
what I saw from like the world record run, which of course that's what I'm going to base it off. Go up to the attic first,
Yep.
and rather than doing all this rigmarole, pushing all the boxes, doing all the let's play stuff,
Yep.
we don't do let's plays here, like you
Yep.
know.
Apparently not. Just seeing this going, well, I didn't do any of this.
No. Make your way up to the top. But the one thing that I think I struggled with most was getting the coins, getting like the
Yep.
right amount of coins per area I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so God, like I mean, I don't know if you can see on my splits, I'm at attempt 30 or 29 here,
Yep.
and yeah, there was a lot of resets in this.
Okay.
So yeah, fight the boss first, just like a lot of running around. Um, Wait until
There's a lot
he
of trying to time it when he tires out. It's how you can spin and get shoot a straight line as well as the big thing I definitely struggled with.
Yes, it's a time before like hard or soft locking on the enemies, and the amount of shots I missed because it looked like I was going to hit, but I didn't for whatever reason is frightening.
yeah
So it is. Also, that wee thing that pops up when you grab the sort of like icons, whatever they're called. I don't know what they're called. I'm going to call it all sorts of different names throughout this video, no doubt. Every time you pick one up, it's like, do you want to quit the level? No, don't. See that just makes
How
so
many
much
times
sense.
did you accidentally quit the level, by the way? Because I think it was
Oh,
alarming how many times I did it.
I only did it
yes.
once. I only did it once, and like I'm used to doing that in Mario, and I only did it once this time. But like the actual when I was looking at like the actual like the runs on speedrun, what they did
Mm-hmm.
was, so you see me jump from the banister just there before.
Yeah.
They were jumping from that little shelf up to where the sheep is, rather than jumping
Yes.
down onto the armchair. But I am not exactly. I mean, I only started doing this whenever this was my first sort of go at doing this. I just kind of left it a bit last minute, and
Yeah.
even here, I'm going the long way around here. Because obviously, like the mechanics of this game, they're not exactly amazing.
No.
Like
No.
you if you're running up against the wall, you're nearly clipping into the wall, and it kills all momentum and stuff.
The texture setups are very
Yeah,
intriguing in this game, to say the least.
exactly,
There's.
exactly. I 100% agree. So like what like some of the sort of lower time speedrunners were doing were jumping up on the wheel arch of the car, and
Mm-hmm.
they were able to kind of buffer up through to get onto the top of the car rather than having to go all the way around the garage.
I will say on the PS5 that doesn't exist. You can't clip the wheel arch.
Yeah, like the definitely like I only landed it once and it's just hard. This bit I thought was kind of handy. It didn't take me long to learn this, and I
I
was
thought
kind
this
of
was pretty
pleased with
cool.
that the fact it worked, because here was me thinking it was going to be like some kind of really hard strat to do, but no,
Mm-hmm.
sweet. I was kind of
No,
happy
I
when I
remember
hear.
in scheming off chat, me and Luvva were like, "Are you aware of the RC hack?" And I was like, "Yes, let's go."
Yeah, it's one of the things I noticed. I was like, I bet you a tenner there's no checkpoints checking in this game, because it just seemed like a
No.
game that wouldn't do it. And I was like, I'm gonna try it, and I think I successfully skipped one lap and just could not wrap my head around the actual mechanics of how to do the jump, like the proper jump. I
Yeah,
tried that too, but I
that
never
one.
pulled it
Yeah,
off.
so
That
like
was really hard. It looks really easy, but it's actually extremely difficult.
yeah, like they're all like all the jumps I find they're incredibly frame specific, because
Yeah,
if you don't ledge grab, you're just literally bumping into the wall, and
Yeah.
it's like if you're like a frame too low or a frame too high, you're not doing it.
E-
But even
yeah.
before getting into the basement, um, I don't know if you guys seen in anything you might have watched that there's like a glitch. So where the direction I'm going towards the token, like the door at the top of the stairs, that is like directly above the token. So
Yeah.
what a lot of like the
Yes.
speedrunners do, they were clipping through the door into the skirting board and just falling down.
Yeah.
So I was looking, and like I did this literally in the middle of the stream, and I was looking and I was like, why can't I get this? Apparently that's only an emulator and PS1 thing, or emulator and PC, I think. Like it's not a
Okay.
thing on the 64 at all.
Consoles.
Like it's just, yeah, like whether it was patched or whether it just wasn't you know,
That's
it
quite
just wasn't
interesting.
didn't pick up. But
Yeah, I
yeah, so
wonder
like
if they've spotted it, fixed it because it's a CD, but because the 64 is so expensive, they just went had to throw the code in early to get them made and stuff. I
yeah,
wonder.
but potentially, yeah. So like the route I've taken is exactly the same in terms of what tokens I'm going for, but the movement is like I don't want to
I,
say subpar, but like if you look at the world record, I watched the world record and I was thinking, my God, this looks easy, and then
yeah,
you go
I
and do
bet
it,
it
Yeah.
and
can
then you realize that the mechanics are just bad.
wild. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
Oh no, this is it.
wild.
The one thing I realized as well, it doesn't matter what version you're playing it on, Buzz doesn't seem to actually touch the floor. He just seems to skate along it.
Yeah,
yeah,
and the thing that got me was when I first started playing, I was like, oh, okay, this uses tank controls. No, it just feels like tank controls,
yeah,
but
oh
if you
yeah, yeah,
pick a direction, you don't spin, but he just runs in that direction. And as you say, there's no friction or
yeah,
gravity, and there's a whole. I just like how is this control scheme conducive to a good platforming game? I just couldn't wrap my head around it. It
yeah.
isn't.
It's
Spoiler alert.
it's like there's too much friction where there needs not be, I think, as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing,
No,
you know.
it's the most chaotic of camera angles as well because like it will it'll twist depending on where you are sort of on the level. Because I found going
Yeah.
up into the attic space, it'll be bouncing against the wall because the camera physically can't
Yeah.
turn through the wall, which
Yeah, like
Yeah,
the camera is like it's always like the behind camera, like and it auto adjusts. Like you
yeah,
can't like I mean it's been a while since I played this. When I was doing this, I was like pressing C left, C right. And I was thinking, why isn't the camera working? Why am I not
was
like But yeah, like the camera made it a little bit difficult because it means you have to be incredibly specific with your movement
yeah,
to keep it at a right way. So, like for example, when I was going up into the attic, I don't know if you saw me jumping up, spinning around to kind of get higher up the pole a bit
yeah.
quicker. Like the amount of times I fell off because the camera just completely janked on me.
The
It,
computer, yeah, the camera doesn't react like you expect it to. It takes when you stop moving, it will only react when you stop moving, I find.
yeah,
So if you need to change the camera, you need to turn where you want the camera to point and then stop, and then the
yeah,
camera will slowly rotate round. Sometimes it goes too far and comes back on itself, but that also happens a lot. It's the camera is so poor, and you'll see in my run that there's because I'm doing things incorrectly. Uh, uh, there's a lot of like blind jumps because I know there's a platform there. The camera hasn't gotten round to show me it yet. But I also learned that there is another thing. If you are making a blind jump, a lot of the time Buzz's edge grab won't engage,
yep,
and you just bounce off it, fall, and it's like I
yeah.
need to redo that whole thing again. But we'll get to my gameplay when we get to it. Andy, your finish time there, you correct me if I'm wrong, 6 minutes 43 seconds.
yep. 6 minutes 43, which
Absolutely blistering, to be
was a
fair.
bit of a it was a bit of a grind to get there because I had to improvise so much. Like I was practicing all of the skips that I was seeing in like the runs on speedrun and
Yep.
like I mean I think I went in thinking, okay, this is gonna be kind of handy because I watched a few of them before and I was like, yeah, it'll be fine,
Mhm.
be fine. Naturally, I couldn't do a single one of the skips. I just had
Yeah.
to
So
follow the
that's
route.
it.
Yeah, I just had to follow the route that they all did. And like for context as well, the world record for this level
Mhm.
is 3 minutes 25
Yeah.
seconds.
I
That is a
watched the
lot
world
of
record.
glitches and clips through though. That's a lot of
Exactly, like
exploitation.
yeah, like even in like the basement itself, I think you save like a minute or so doing that
Yeah.
rather than like yeah. So I mean,
Yeah. I watched the world record. I went, wow, that looks really easy. Like every trick in the game looks super easy, but
yeah,
because of different sort of factors that the game has, makes some of it extremely difficult. Like as I said, I tried to do the race skip and successfully did it once because I could not wrap my head around how Buzz controls in the air. He acts weird, but we'll get to my gameplay when we get to my gameplay. So the benchmark time that me or Tomahawk have to beat is 6 minutes and 43 seconds. Andy, I know you're aware of the rules, but you know the rules in the side quests are if one of the members of the podcast wins, the podcast wins.
of
That's
course,
all I'm
yes.
saying.
I mean, it's the age old rule: the house always wins, isn't it? You
The
know.
house always wins.
Absolutely.
The house always
But
wins. But that is. Go ahead, Tom. I
no, I
cut
was
you off.
just going to say all he's done is that he's put himself top of the leaderboard. So he's
Hey!
got
Exactly.
that to look. He's got that to hold on to.
Exactly. You know what I
I
mean? And
mean, it
listen,
is
it doesn't
a
matter if
good
there's only
time.
one person on the leaderboard, it's still on the leaderboard.
Still top of the table, baby.
Spoken like a true speedrunner.
Of course, you also started there because of alphabetical order, but here, it is what it is, isn't
Listen, that's a technicality. Let's not be facetious.
it? Right, so let's draw a line under Andy's time. As impressive as it is, it gives us a mountain to climb. In fairness, it
Something
is
to take into account. Yes,
it is
definitely.
fast. It is very fast. And there we go. Andy has set quite the benchmark, Tom. Without
Work
spoiling
is
my
cut out for
speed.
us. Yes.
um, oh. That's all I'm saying about my speed. But On top of the challenge game, I don't know about you two gentlemen, but I have been playing other games. So Tomahawk, the time has come. Tell me,
Yes, it's my favorite part.
what are you playing?
This is the best part about missing a week is that I can just use the notes from the episode we never got to record
Yes.
because I haven't. It's been scarce on the gaming front, to be honest. But
Mhm.
what I have done is I finished Disco Elysium.
Ooh.
I definitely will be going back. I'm going to let it sort of digest for a bit. I'm going to maybe go back and play a slightly more chaotic run through
Yep.
because I also feel as if you can take as little or as long as you want to solve the case.
Okay.
So that is definitely going to be on my list anyway. I went for the whole redemption arc, as I may have said in the last episode, to
Mhm.
get away from the drunken bum and to kind of become super cop.
Okay.
I'm going to try and go be hobo cop for the entire duration and see how that pans out for me.
Yes.
Make a few erratic decisions. I can't recommend that game enough for anyone who loves a good turn-based RPG. Fantastic. So
How long is it, Tom?
I
A
think it could
game?
be as little or as long as you can. I think I put it's about well, it was 7 in-game days, but I think about like 8 or 10 hours really.
Okay, yeah.
It's
So
not massive,
short.
but I think you can make yourself as busy as you want in that game, or you
Yep.
can blast through tasks, get enough as long as you are leveling up the appropriate uh, sections. You can probably do a load of checks and stuff in game pretty quickly, and you can progress quite quick.
Yep.
But I think it does build such a good world that you're more inclined to go and do every side mission available to you.
Okay, cool. Cool. So good, is it as good as everyone says it is?
Greatest
'Cause
game of all time ever made? Probably not.
okay.
But I
Is
think
it
I'm
up
playing it
there?
on console. It's pretty up there. I think it's maybe we could be looking at top 10.
Ooh,
I think
okay.
it's better suited to be handheld. So I think if you can find it on the Steam Deck,
Steam Deck.
do
Yeah,
that.
that's what I was thinking.
Absolutely. It's not, it played great on the console, but I think it's better, more suited to be handheld.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just one of those games I've been wanting to play. I think I said that last time as well, but it's finding time, and I
That's
thought it was
it.
going to be long. You just see a top-down 2D RPG, and you're like,
It's
it's going
not
to be big.
it's not massive, I think, but again, I think it's how you play it and how long you
Yeah.
want to make the playthrough really. So definitely would recommend that. What I also would recommend is I played and finished because it's a relatively short game, Superliminal.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes,
Very Portal. It
yeah.
really, really reminded me of Portal. It's just it's more lucid dreaming than it is Portal Gun. I see what it's
Okay.
trying to do. I see what it's trying to do, and it's very
Yeah.
clever in what it does, but it's just not Portal. It really made me miss Portal.
It's one of those games I kind of know by name and PlayStation Store art, and not much else. Puzzle game.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
And how does it work? What's the mechanics? You said about lucid dreaming. So what?
So what you'll do is you'll go into a room. The room may have like an optical illusion. You'll have to frame yourself into it for then that object to become grabbable. And then
Right.
depending on how you angle it, it depends on how big or small you make that item to then progress into other parts of the complex, we'll say.
So kind of like Watch Dogs 2, the QR puzzles,
Yes,
where you had to place yourself in a specific spot and then
exactly.
angle. Yeah. Okay.
So, but then it's you can pick up the item, but if you step further back, the item gets bigger because
It's
of where your perspective is for
bigger.
the room, or if you go really close, and it's a lot of physics based, a lot of perspective based. It's Portal without being Portal.
Sounds quite good.
It's
It
really
sounds
good.
quite good.
It's
It sounds
short,
original.
really short as well. I
Okay.
think about an hour, 2 hours tops if you're speed running.
It's exceptionally short. I like that. I
It's
like
very
games that are
short game, but
short.
it's straight to the point. It's kind of it does this whole thing. A lot of narrative stuff is through like tape decks and external
Like
audio.
audio logs. Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. But
Classic.
it's really cool. It's like you get 4 or 5
Ooh.
levels into it, and the facility that you're in is like, well done, you've activated all 800 of our emergency protocols. I hope you're happy. Like, you can tell where they've got their inspiration from,
Yeah.
and great we puzzle it. You probably might go back and try and platinum it. It doesn't seem very
Okay.
difficult to do so.
Famous last words.
I know, that's it.
Yeah.
And on the I've got 3 games to cover this week.
Well, of course you
Well,
do.
because what
I mean,
would
it's
Tomahawk be if he
Tomahawk.
didn't play multiple games at one time? He finally got through Resident Evil 1.
I love the way we're talking about Tomahawk now in third person. You
Exactly.
finally got through it. So how long did it take you? 2 hours? Because you were speedrunning through it.
I'm disgusted by how long my stats came through at the end. 16 hours.
16.
16 hours it took me to play that game. I
How?
don't know how. I really don't know what had happened. It might have been a lot of it was just running around the lobby of the
Blindly.
Spencer mansion. But
I don't know where to go.
and yes, I did do a walkthrough because it just got to a point where I was just like, I don't remember anything about this game. I don't remember anything supposed to go. At least when I'm playing, because I'm into Resident Evil 2 now. At least it kind of gives you a nice solid route of where everything's supposed to go, where everything's supposed to be, and what you're supposed to do with that. It's much more clear and concise than Resident Evil 1 ever was.
I mean, uh, all Resident Evil wants you to do is pay attention.
But I
So
don't. No, I don't pay attention.
there's so little things in Resident Evil you can actually interact with, and the clues are all there for you. You just need to remember and familiarize yourself with the Spencer Mansion. It is the it's I think the Spencer Mansion. I think I said this during the Resident Evil episode. The Spencer Mansion is probably the tightest and best designed gaming
Oh,
level
like
I have
no,
ever
no,
played.
nothing
It's
is
incredible.
nothing is
No
guff.
wasted
Nothing
space.
is wasted. Yeah, exactly. It all serves a purpose, which I think is so good about that game. But I think because I'll pick up an item and then that item won't be relevant for
Ages. It might not even
ages.
be relevant for the area you're in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
what's kind of I got maybe stuck in my own head about that because I'm then circling around rooms that are I've just I've cleared, I've 100%ed on the
Mhm.
map, and I'm still going. But where does this piece go?
Yeah. The game design kind of, I don't want to say loses its way towards the end, but the labs are the hardest part of the game to navigate because of, well, numerous things. The Chimera primarily make
Yeah.
it an absolute nightmare. And the bit where you have to transport the power supply and you can't run.
Oh yes, because you can't run, you can't jostle it, you can't use weapons or high-powered weapons. At least anyway, that did annoy me, and I did find out the hard way about that
Like
as
the
well.
bombsies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, that's Resident Evil 1 ticked off. So 1 down, 7 to go.
Yeah, not
So we'll
including
tune in.
spin-offs.
We'll tune in another 3 months to see how Tomo got on
8 to go,
in Resi
including
2.
0, of course.
I'm gonna have to go back to 0, aren't I?
Yes.
It's not gonna
Yes,
be
you
in
are.
sequence this run through.
I mean, I would argue even if you played it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 right through, it's still not in sequence because Resident Evil 0 doesn't fit in anywhere particularly well or comfortably. I mean, it is a good game. It's worth playing. But I would have
TBC
probably
on that.
played that before playing Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Resident Evil 2
To be
remake, I
honest.
will say about this, the PS5 Opera is
Unbelievable.
stunning.
Unbelievable.
I
Yes.
can't. It's incredible.
Yes.
But enough about what I'm playing. Luvva, what are you playing?
I have been playing 2 games, Tomahawk. 2.
Ooh.
The first one, you know what I'm going to say here. You know what I'm
It's
going to say
Monster Hunter
here.
Rise, isn't it?
It's Monster Hunter Rise. I am still lost in the world of Monster Hunter. It's awesome. It's just so addictive and it is just so well designed. It is frightening. It is it's it's one of the best action RPGs I've ever played.
Wow.
It is just that simple. The amount of choices Capcom have given you is just ridiculous. You think something simple like changing your weapon would be minimal at best, but no. Every single weapon in that game has its own combat style, its own combos, its own strengths, its own weaknesses. You can imbue them with certain elements that are useful
Oh
against some
wow. Okay.
monsters and not so useful against others. the multiplayer, which I'm finally delving into, is just it's
Is it
brilliant.
just humongous? Is it?
It's just brilliant. There's just the game itself is just I every time you go up a level, every time you go out in a hunt and you come back, your cycle's the same. You come back in from the hunt, you collect your rewards, and then you go to the blacksmith, and you give the blacksmith materials and money. He'll make you weapons and armor. Sometimes your weapons will have certain stat buffs or debuffs or whatever it might be, and then you'll go, I wonder what this is like. So you go back out in another hunt, and then you come back, and you're like,
The cycle continues. Yeah.
I really should go and do some of this other stuff that's in the game, but I want to see what this weapon's like. I want to see what this weapon's like. I wonder what that monster's like, because it tells you what monsters you're hunting, and it'll tell you if it's a new monster. You've not yet encountered this monster, and it's like, I really want to see what this monster's like. And then if you're going to like a new area or if it's a new monster, they all have like intro sequences where it's like, it shows you the monster as in the in-game render of it, but only bits of it in flashes, and it tells you like a story. It's like a poem, but it's written in that Japanese, that one-stroke art style,
Oh,
and it
okay.
builds the suspense for the monster. And it's just, I thought I was going to hate it. I thought I'd play it for an hour or two, get bored, drop it, move on. I think I'm like 20 or 30 hours in,
I
and
see that it's on offer on the PlayStation Store. Would
yeah,
you recommend it? Given
I,
you know what I'm sort of like about games and how
yeah,
my playing
I
style.
I think you'd like it, but I also think if there's any games you want to play first, play them first,
Yeah, yeah, that's
because
gonna
it will
dominate.
consume you. It will consume you. It's one of those games where I have it on Steam and playing it on the Steam Deck. It's 25 quid with the DLC on PlayStation 5. I'm gonna buy it.
I saw that. I'm
I'm
very
gonna buy
tempted.
it.
Very, very tempted. Not gonna lie.
It is that good. And there is big murmurings of Monster Hunter World 2 coming out next year. Yeah, if it's a series you've been interested in, or even a passing, that might be quite good. I
Is this
would
big like
wholeheartedly recommend it.
MMORPG type?
No,
No.
it's not. It's like, if I was going to compare it to anything, I'll compare it to Phantasy Star Online, where it's segmented smaller open world areas. So uh, you'll you'll get your main hub is a village, and in the village there's a whole heap of NPCs, and so there's like merchants and blacksmiths, cooks, chefs, shop owners. And you just run around, and sometimes they'll want to speak with you. And if they want to speak with you, they'll appear in the map. Can I have a word? You'll go to them. They'll give you a mission, and then you literally go to the gate, and then you exit, and then you pick your mission, and it will just teleport you into like a
Okay.
moderately sized open world. It's big enough, but I mean, it's no Grand Theft Auto 5. You're not going to be walking through the world for 10 minutes to get from one end to the other. You probably get from end to end in about 2 or 3 minutes, but it's bigger than it sounds.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically, you're looking for hunters. So if you're looking for monsters, some monsters are shyer than others, and you have to look for clues about where it might be. So it could be, there's all this wildlife, but in this wee area, there's none. So you go in there, and then it might present itself, but it's really, really good. When you start, there's no health bar for the boss monsters, so you're just hitting away at it, and the only way you know if you're winning is the animation cues will change. So it'll start, if you hurt
Like
its
more
leg, it will
frenzied
start.
attacks and stuff, and
It's more than that. Like, so you can target body parts. So some monsters are two-legged, some monsters are four, some have tails, some have wings. You can target those parts, and they stop working. But the animation for that part will change. So if you hurt its leg, for example, then it'll start dragging the leg,
okay.
and if you hurt it enough, then it'll try to escape you. At which point, then you have to give chase. It's
Oh,
it's just
okay.
fantastic.
That sounds
It's
really cool. That's really. I mean,
it's
it wouldn't be a Capcom game if it wasn't as massively immersive now.
it's crazy. It's crazy how good it is. It's just It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable, and it runs like an absolute dream on the deck on medium settings. It looks gorgeous,
Class.
and I have seen no stutters, and I have been in some really like big battles that have a whole heap of stuff going on. It is gorgeous and it plays like a dream.
That's it.
But
With
Monster
that,
Hunter
I'm
Rise.
very tempted now. With it being on offer at least until the end of December, I'm
Mhm.
bloody well tempted now just to
And
see what the hype is really. And I figured if it's that cheap,
yeah,
it's not gonna
25
really
quid
not a big
is
sting. Like,
nothing. 25 quid's nothing. I think Sunrise, is that what it's called?
hmm
Is by itself usually 29.99.
so you're getting a game
So
for you're getting the body a game for free, and then the DLC you're paying for
for a fiver
essentially.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. I think you'd love it, but I also think if you want to play games, get them out of the way first because it will
aye.
consume you. Because
Are we starting to do
even
consumer advice? Is this what we're at in the podcast now?
I think so. It's one of those games where you know when you play a game and it's really really good, and every time you have a spare moment, you're like, I'll play it. So you take whatever it is and you'll play it for 5 minutes, and then you'll turn it off, and then in your time when you're not playing it, you're thinking about it. That's where I am with it right now. Every time I'm not playing
Dear.
it, I'm thinking, I wonder if I can go back and hunt that monster and get his tail so I can get that piece of armor that I need his tail for. It's that sort of game. It's brilliant.
Class.
Absolutely brilliant. I love it. It's great. And I'm not just saying that because Capcom sponsored me on a personal and professional level. Um, but if
I
they
mean, it
want
has
to
been
send me
33 consecutive episodes we've talked about Capcom now.
if they want to send me like preview code for Monster Hunter World 2, highscoreshighstakes@gmail.com, Capcom. Thank you very much. But beyond Monster Hunter, because I do like having different games to talk about, I have been playing a game on Steam Deck called Hunt Down.
Never heard of it.
Hunt Down is a game I got for filthy cheap during the Steam Black Friday deal. I think I paid £3, £4 for it. So it is effectively, you've heard of Contra, yes?
Yes.
The old side-scrolling run and gun games. It is Contra, but set in a cyberpunk dystopian future that's kind of, aesthetically speaking, it's kind of like James Cameron's 1980s Terminator.
Okay.
So it looks like that, but it plays exactly like Contra. You are a bounty hunter, and you have to clean up the main streets of the game world. So every level, you'll have a target, and just go through waves of enemies to get to the target, and then it's a boss fight. But it's brilliant. The soundtrack is brilliant. It is stunning looking. It reminds me of RoboCop versus the Terminator on Mega Drive.
Oh,
It's
yes,
kind
yes.
of that sort of, but really, really stylized, and it's just it's a really, really good game. I have beaten the first world, so I've beaten the first 5 bosses. It's tough, but it's not like infuriatingly tough. The
It's challenging without being too
without being
uh,
like
too
Celeste
stressful.
levels
Yeah.
of it is hard, but it's not like I can't do this. I think I've beaten every boss second attempt, and it's nice with checkpoints.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
really,
yeah.
really nice with checkpoints. The checkpoints are really well spaced out. If you die in a boss fight, the checkpoint is literally right outside the door of the boss. But it is brilliant. It's all old school side scroll run and gunner. Learn where enemy placements are, learn boss patterns, and exploit them. And it's really, really good. It's a
Perfect.
really good game. The soundtrack is also incredible.
Sounds like a
It's
goodly detox when you're sort of taking a break. I know that like as little a break as you take from Monster Hunter, I would say, but it sounds like a great wee game just to put an hour in.
it's good because the levels last about 7 minutes from start
Okay.
to finish, and you just like, oh, I'll have a quick blast here. Brrr, there we go. Jobs are good, and put it down again. That's the way I'm treating it. But it's a really good game. It's beautiful looking, and it sounds incredible, and it's just yeah, it's a nice wee change of pace. But
Mhm.
that's it for me, really. Hunt Down, buy it. It's great. I think it's only on Steam though. I don't think it's on console yet, but it
Okay.
should be.
We'll keep an
But it
eye on
should
that
be.
one.
hmm Yeah, and that leaves us then, Andy. What are you playing?
Well, I'm sure you could probably guess, given
Mario.
yeah,
Gran Turismo 7.
Gran Turismo, Resident Evil. Well, I'll not touch on Resident Evil, considering the experience I had with that recently. But yeah,
Tell me about this. What's this? What's the
uh,
story?
so yeah, so this is going back to like just before Halloween.
hmm
I streamed like I think I got back from holiday and like I wanted just to do something different because like speedrunning Mario was kind of doing my head in. and played Resident Evil. I had like a week where I just streamed nothing but GameCube games, and I had the original, well, the Resident Evil remake. Oh, it was on the GameCube,
Yes. Mhm.
and um, I think I learned the hard way to examine everything because I
Yes.
just
I
did.
remember watching this stream.
Yeah,
Yes.
because the two of you, specifically the two of you, for a good 10 minutes, told me to look at the clock.
Just as a wind up.
Did I know it was a wind up? No. I thought it was legit, and I was literally looking at the clock. But there's no prompts. There's no prompts. What am I doing? It's just like it just says it's a clock. It's like what was going on, and I was kind of just like,
I
I
forgot
just was
about
getting
this.
not frustrated because it was one of those games I had never played in my life, and there were times as well that you guys were very very helpful with that, especially whenever it was like save your ammo, don't just run away from the zombies, and I was like, I could do that, but I also might just put all 15 bullets I have in this gun in this one zombie and
Yep.
watch it
Yeah.
resurrect after 2 minutes and then come and um ruin my life, which admittedly happened. But the best part about it was anytime I figured something out myself, or at least with minimal supervision, I felt amazing. I
There's a
felt
great
like I'd,
satisfaction when you can
yeah,
figure it out.
I
Yeah.
felt like I'd really, really achieved something. So that was my experience with Resident Evil, and I've been for about 3 months now. I've been saying I'm going to go back to it, and I haven't, and I don't think I think I'm too scared to do it, just because I just know it's going to
Fuck,
be.
it's great.
I know it was good,
Mhm.
but I just kind of sucked at it. But yeah, just to digress from what I've been playing.
I totally forgot about that stream.
Yeah,
That is
that
some of the most
was
fun I have had on Twitch TV
that
for a very,
was
very, very long time. I
genuine
was just in chat.
at the time. At the time, I think that was probably my most successful stream. I
Oh
think it
wow.
was, and then I think I went on to like Crash Bandicoot or something to try and like detox, and then it just kind of it just went worse because I was like stuck in a water level for 20 minutes, and they are literally the worst.
Yeah.
Water levels are
But
terrible.
yeah, but I digress. So what have I been playing? But of course Mario, of
Yep.
course Mario, but not just any Mario. It's like I've mentioned, I like to vary it up a little bit. So um, I've kind of moved on a little bit from the speedrunning side of the main game. I've moved up to a
Mm-hmm.
different category. So I don't know what your guys' knowledge is of Mario speedruns. But there's a technique or like a glitch called LBLJ, lobby backwards long jumps. And this is
Yeah.
where,
Stairs and stuff.
yeah, so you jump into like one of the pillars on the stairs of the lobby of the castle, and you do a backwards long jump, same the way you would to get up the stairs,
Mm-hmm.
into like the specific frame, and it enables you to basically maneuver yourself to get into the first Bowser door with no 0 stars.
Okay.
So I've learned that it's a bit more, again, it's just kind of like more intermediate sort of strat. So I learned that. I've started to run that a bit. In terms of main game, that's about it. A couple of the mods have been doing. Um, I have recently started running a mod called Mario 64 Dark Edition,
Okay.
where the whole game is
Dear.
blacked out apart from certain visual cues. So you'll have, the trees, enemies, coins, and just other random little things as like little visual cues. And
And
it's just
nothing else.
nothing else, nothing else, like doors and stuff. Of course, you can see too, but
They've
that's
just put
that's
a
about it.
black JPEG over every texture. It's infuriating to watch, to be
It sounds
honest. It's
horrible to
hard.
play.
But like, I mean, I've done that many speedruns. Like, I think it took me a while to get my first run done. I think it was like the second stream I did actually of it. I managed to finish a run, and it was like an hour 8 minutes for 16 star. But like I've managed to get it down to like 46 minutes, and I'm trying to get for sub 30, just because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I can do it. But I haven't revisited it like, yeah, like in the last couple of days. But I'm gonna do it. Um, then there's of course the randomizers that I do, which the
Mm-hmm.
randomizers I just love them because for me like even though that's just one particular mod, there's like a lot of variety that you can do with it. You can do just like random seed, you can pick your own seed, you can non-stop, which is where if you get a star, it doesn't kick you out of the level, things like that. And there's a lot of variety for it. People find it entertaining, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But the most recent thing I've played has not actually been Mario. Would you guys believe?
Shock.
I know.
Sonic.
No, 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 no. Keeping in with the whole retro vibe that I have,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I was looking on the Switch Online store
Yes.
and I came across a remaster of Duke Nukem.
Oh, good
3D.
lord.
Duke 64 and 3D, like a wee
Oh.
package.
Okay.
And it was, well, I bought it because it was $2.99 or $1.99 on
Okay.
Switch
Yeah,
Yep.
Store.
okay, yeah, I would do that.
Like, I mean,
Yep.
it was like, now, to be fair, it was only down from $7.99. But I probably wouldn't have paid $7.99 for it.
No.
But it's still not too, when you look at it, it's like, you see like, it's like, oh, $7.99, that's cheap, but it's £2 right now. But you kind of think, I wouldn't have paid that much. And I went on it and I gave the first couple of levels a go, and oh my god, it's so bad.
It's real.
The game, it's Duke Nukem
It's
64 as a game, right? It doesn't take itself too seriously, right?
no.
And that is why that's what I think it's a good level, because it's like it's a what would you call it? It's like not 2D, but it's like the 2D textures, but it's like a 3D setting.
It's yeah. It's a three. It's 3D. Early 3D. It's early 3D.
Yeah, yeah, because like because the
It's
enemies are all 2D, all the textures, everything else is 2D, but yeah, it's like you say, the early kind of days of it.
Doom, Quake, that kind of thing.
oh,
Yeah,
Doom
yeah,
Quick is polygonal.
Let's see, yeah.
yeah, but like they've remastered it, and they've had the who's the voice actor, Johnson John.
Yes.
Yeah, they've had him re-record all the dialogue and everything. Like I think it's something like it must
Okay.
be 25-year anniversary or something.
Yeah,
Must
30?
be 25, 30 or something like that.
25,
Wow.
30, yeah.
And
Be
so I downloaded this thinking I loved Duke Nukem on the 64 as a kid, Yeah, and oh my god, the absolute letdown of it. Like, I played through the first couple of levels and I was like,
yeah.
I appreciate what they've tried to do here, but like you can't really take a game with the textures that has and modernize it without it just looking a bit scuffed.
Uh, yes. Yeah. I mean, you have to be very. What's the word I'm looking for? Minimal with it. You can
Yeah,
clean it up and like rough edges, like kind of what they did with Doom. I think Doom
yeah, yeah,
93 looks fine on modern consoles. It is exactly what you expect it to look like, but it runs smoother, it sounds crisper, and it's just everything's just a wee bit cleaner. Whereas Duke Nukem, I remember playing Duke Nukem 3D when it came out on
hmm
both PC and PlayStation. The PlayStation console version was horrific, like
yeah,
awful, bad, frame rate non-existent. On the PC, it always looked to me, even at the time, I was like, oh, "This is really impressive," but it always looked noisy. I think it's the best way of putting it. Like a
yeah.
film
There's a
going
lot
over the
going
top.
on, yeah.
Yeah, and like it would have been similar in terms of like Resident Evil for like the tank controls. It was just, but like in an almost like unintentional way where it was just the controls were so heavy, the movement was just like you could be holding on the analog stick for 3 seconds and he would just start,
Start moving. Yeah.
like it was just
Yeah.
like it was quite hard to play. And yeah, I just thought it was a shame because like I say, I like that game. It was simple, didn't take itself
Mm-hmm.
too seriously, and
Yep.
it wasn't really too difficult either. And the fact that they've remastered it and they've not just rendered it for a modern day console, that's where I think they've let it down, because you know uh, remasters, I think they're never always as good. But if it's just like like the backwards compatibility, like you have with
Yep.
PlayStation
Yeah.
and you have with Switch, Like they're just the old games that are rendered and emulated for newer
And
modern day
just the
console, and that
preservation.
exactly, and I think that works better. But if you're creating an entirely new game, essentially, it loses its feel, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess so. Obviously, I've gone on a bit of a tangent there, but like that is, I did give that a go because like it was a nostalgia sort of thing. But for me, it made me want to play it on the 64 again, just because it was, how a game from 25, 30 years ago can be smoother than a remaster is
Yeah.
beyond me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, and like Duke Nukem itself, it was a smooth controlling game. Like it
Yeah. Yeah.
genuinely, there wasn't really much wrong with it. Like, had a bit of style, lacked the substance, but it didn't need it. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's like my little wild card in terms of what I've been playing.
I'm still a bit gassed about this whole we're gonna bring the original voice actor in to redo all the dialogue. I mean, I get it for kind of you want to kind of upres a bit of maybe audio clarity, crispness, that sort of thing, but it just seems like a bit of a financial endeavor to do that.
Oh
I'd,
yeah,
im-
absolutely,
I'd
absolutely.
imagine it's just the way games are. They've lost the original recordings, and
That's
because
been
it was on,
recorded over or done something on another ROM somewhere.
yeah, and because
Yeah,
it was on PC and stuff, the sound quality, even with sound cards back in the early to mid 90s, wasn't great. So they've probably lost the recordings, and then even we gone into the code for the game, it probably sounds awful. And it's like, I just give him £100, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, he says three things: "Shake it, baby.
yeah,
That's
I'm
it,
here
yeah.
to kick
yeah.
ass and chew gum,
And
and
I'm
I'm
all out of
all out of
gum.
gum." And
And like
that's it.
his lines were like recorded on like Dixie cups onto like a Windows 95
Ah,
server. Like, there's
it-
no way that they are like, being put onto
Salvageable in this
anything
day
else.
and age. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
so it
exactly.
does make sense. Make it look cleaner, make it sound crisper. I have no issues with that at all. It's a good idea. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's, and
But it's Chick Nukem.
I
I've
mean,
never
like I said,
cared for it.
but the thing is, I find, right, and like about games like that, is that the original games are sometimes like the best ones, the classics. Like,
Oh yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
can give you another example as well. Lilac Wars, Star Fox. No, right. Hear me out on this.
Well,
Hear me out on this, right? So, Lilac Wars, I think is brilliant. I love it, right, as a
okay.
game. Star Fox 1 and 2 on the NES and the
Hmm.
SNES, garbage. Absolutely unplayable, right?
Yes, but like single frame for the
Yeah.
sequel
Yeah.
of it was the
Like, I
sequel
mean,
never came out. It was cancelled.
yeah.
So Lilac Wars, Star Fox 64 for our American listeners, is the official Star
Yeah.
Fox 2.
And to be honest, right, I think that is I think it's brilliant, right? I love that game, and it's very easily played and all that. But then,
Hmm.
like, I mean, played on Switch Online, played the predecessors, and again, unplayable, really bad. And then I played on the GameCube, Star Fox Adventures,
Oh,
and oh my
okay.
Dear
god,
I
God,
mean, it's
we're
a good game. It's an
rabbit
underrated game.
holing.
It's an
it's
underrated game. It's fine. Dinosaur Planet. It's fine.
Anything
but
with
it's just
dinosaurs and you love it, this is it.
It's it's fine. It's
I
for a
mean,
game that was never meant to be a Star Fox game. I think Rare
yeah,
fitted the Star Fox
I
just
think
or
that's it.
fine in it.
I think they kind of like branched out a little bit too much into the sort of adventure, sort of,
Hmm.
open world kind of thing. And I don't really think it worked like it should have. Um, so yeah, and I think Duke Nukem 3D kind of, I think, did like almost the same thing, but I just kind of think, it wasn't as linear, and it just, to me, it didn't land. I just think just keep it
Yeah.
simple with those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like my sort of, that's my take on it. Like,
And you think I play too many games, lover?
That's what I was gonna say. That was only like 2 games.
Must run in the family.
yeah,
Musty, it musty. But Chick Nukem, what a time to be alive. Chick Nukem was on Switch. Good lord. Good good lord. But anyway, speaking of that's Andy's take on things, I think it's time we got to my take on Toy Story 2. So let's get over there. So, part 2 of the challenge then. Andy has set his time, a benchmark time of 6 minutes 43 seconds. I think a quick glance at that timeline there of YouTube may suggest that I do not beat that time. But spoiler free, this podcast, there's only way to find out, and that is by asking Tomahawk to hit that play button.
On
So
it.
I think, Andy, I had the same idea as you. Um, I played this game for about 3 hours and was like, I hate this. But the thing I hated the most was the coins and getting enough coins for the pig. And I was like, don't know what, I'll just get the coins in the room because they're handy. There's not too much to do in the room. Little did I know it was going to waste so much time, but it does. It's a nightmare. And then I go straight for the attic. So I went up to the attic first and foremost, but I do things slightly different from you. I watched the world record speedrun and I could not emulate any of it because of the controls being so horrifically bad.
Yeah,
And
the
when you pair
controls were an
them,
issue.
when you pair the bad controls with the camera, I mean, you'll see me. A lot of jumps I can't see because the camera has not yet reset. It's just so
It's labored,
painful,
really, really
Yeah,
labored
painfully
to.
slow.
and especially when the camera moves as well, when you're like mid jump too, and you've got the control stick pointing in a certain direction, the camera
Yep,
moves, and all of a sudden you're off
the
into the
cam.
distance, you know,
Yep,
or off into infinity and beyond, as you could say.
it was a nightmare. Like the camera, as you say. I mean, like
Even there,
how are you meant to
even there,
see?
like the pillar was covering, you swinging on the pole there, like, and that's how are you supposed to know where you're gonna land, you know?
Exactly, and this is the problem. This is the big issue I had with this game is, and we were talking about this before we recorded, Tom. You don't know what Buzz is going to do because the jump is dependent on, it seems to be anyway, the frame in which you jump from his run.
Yeah.
So sometimes his jump is higher, sometimes it's longer. The arc is bigger, the arc is smaller. So you don't actually. I felt like I never exactly knew what Buzz was going to do, and it was the most bizarre thing in a platform game, especially a 3D platformer, where you don't have any sort of guarantee that you know what your character is going to do, and it absolutely busts this game for me completely. You
Hmm.
just don't know, and the depth. I hate the way you have to physically touch everything
Yeah.
for Buzz to collect it. Like in most games you're on that, you'll collect both. Not in Toy Story 2.
Like the hitboxes seem to just be, like so precise. I
Small.
found this as well for everything, even like the texture grabs, even the for the ledges. If you aren't lined up properly,
That was a big
and
I
you're
miss.
did that a
shooting
few times.
wildly from the hip.
I did that a few times in a few of my runs, and it's like you miss it, and you press and B trying to charge, and you hit him again, and you've added on an extra. Yeah,
An extra go, an extra
exactly.
cycle of the boss, and it's just like it's the most infuriating thing. And
Yeah,
it's just this boss. There's absolutely zero challenge to it. It just takes forever
I know.
because the robot and there's very little cues. The camera is really bad, and the sound. It's obviously because it's a PlayStation 1 game and it was stereo at best.
Yeah.
But the sound design is atrocious.
Oh yeah,
I
like
think it,
you have to just keep him in your rear view at the entire time, just so you know. Otherwise, you could be running around in circles, not having a clue, because he's still making the same whirring noise, and it's
yep.
just not. It doesn't. Yeah, like you say, there's just no cues, and it's yeah. But see, just to go back to what you were saying about the textures and the jumps and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, I'm sure I thought I was going to come up with this bit, maybe the next bit, but in the living room where you go to jump to the sheep,
Yes.
like it's. I think if you're jumping off a ledge or any ledge, you have to be jumping off on like the frame that you are literally leaving the platform to get
Okay. Yeah.
more elevated jump. That's what I seem to find, because otherwise you're just sort of, it's just your bog standard kind of like leap, but there's no
Yeah.
momentum behind it.
Okay. Yeah, I find that it's just that you'll see it here after this race that I'm doing the whole thing for because I couldn't get the skip to work for me at all.
Yeah.
Because the control scheme's not weird. The control scheme is fine, but the way Buzz controls just feels off. So when I
It's
start playing this
disjointed
thing,
from the actual control input nearly.
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, it. When I start playing it, I was like, oh sweet, this is tank control, so it's gonna be nice and fine. The camera's not gonna be an issue, but it's not tank controls. It feels like it, but it's not. When you hit forward, Buzz moves forward relative to the way he's facing
Yeah.
effectively. It's got nothing to do with the camera. The camera is completely independent of it. But when you hit left or right, I was expecting Buzz to rotate on spot, but he moves in that direction. It feels very fluid, but it's also exceedingly bad design for taking into account how the camera works. And the
Yeah.
amount of times I ran myself off of ledges or missed jumps
Like there.
like that,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
right there,
but it's down
because
to like how the camera spins around, and it's how it just throws you away as well. So
yeah.
you now have to
So,
do this jump blind essentially.
Yeah.
and when the camera's not looking at the ledge, he will not grab it. He just will not grab it. So I had a whole heap of issues with this, with the camera and the controls. I just don't think they meld it very well together, and I have to wait for the camera to rock right. But yeah, I didn't think the game was dreadful, and I could see why it would have scored pretty high in the 99 when it came out.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
But the genre has come a very, very, very long way. The genre was better than this before this game was released.
Yeah, absolutely.
Significantly better than this. I mean, before this, we had Crash Bandicoot, we had Spyro the Dragon, we had Super Mario 64. Banjo Kazooie was out in 99 as well, if memory serves me.
Yeah, 98 Banjo-Kazooie was.
98, and
Yeah.
then 99 you had Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
So
you
like
have
it's a tried and tested platform. It's not to say that this is like the first of its kind. You know, it's been well
Yeah.
established.
Oh, it's nowhere near it. Even on the PlayStation, there's better mid-budget platformers.
Mhm.
I would say 40 Winks is better than this as a 3D platformer. Because I think it's a condemning thing to say that this is the tutorial level effectively.
Yep.
It's designed to be forgiven. There's no bottomless pits. I'm presuming they come into the game at some point. And everything's pretty simple to get to and simple to navigate around,
Yeah.
but still it highlights the issues with the game.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's one of the things is like if you look at the controls, as you say, it's like I think the controls are like both hypersensitive and completely clunky at the same time, which
Yeah.
is two things that contradict each other. But it's like, with the camera, it's like, you know, you take any other game, right? If you just like flick the analog stick in a different direction, your character will just stay in the same spot, but he will do a 180, right? Buzz
Yep.
does like the whole circle around, and
Yep.
then you have to wait for the camera because the camera goes after, and it does. It's not as fluid as it could be. Some of the movement is, but then
It's contradictory to itself.
exactly.
It's sometimes you're like, oh, that feels really good, and then other times you're like, no, it's not. Like there, I don't know why I didn't grab the ledge. It doesn't
Yeah.
really matter the grand scheme of things because I've gone beyond your time here. But it's frustrating in a lot of different ways. But you can see there's a flicker of a really good platformer in here. Like there
Yeah.
really is. I mean, the level design's fine. It's not awful at all.
I just
But
would love
yeah,
to know why
no.
there's acid in his basement.
I would presume
That's
it was
it.
battery acid or something. I don't know.
I think they should call a maintenance man out on that one. I think.
But yeah, beyond complaining about the game and how it controls and the camera and stuff like that, I ran this for about 2 or 3 hours. A couple of my runs were better than this one, but with a whole heap of my PlayStation 5 has been giving me a wee bit of jip with recording.
Mhm.
But I think my fastest time was like 11 minutes 20 something.
Yeah.
It's just
which, like,
marginal, really. Then
It's a solid minute faster than this one, but the recording was completely unusable. And then I tried to go back and tried to integrate some of the things. I just could not get it to work at all. I was just like, no, I'll
Now,
just use the one I
Lava,
have.
being this a PS1 port on
Hmm.
the PS5, how did you go about resetting a challenge if you needed to? Did you just
I
quit the level
didn't.
and go back, or?
I don't think I quit at all. I just thought, oh, this one's dead, but I might as well get to the later part of things and just sort of get where everything is in my mind. So I just
Okay.
use it as a learning sort of tool,
I
really.
found there was a lovely little call it a little time save for me. If you hit the wee pause button on it, you can save a point in the game and then you just reload back to it. So every time I like botched a run, I would just basically hit a
Safe
reset
state.
button and go back to
Okay,
just
yeah, so
hit a
safe state
save
one.
state and
That's
go
what I'm
straight
hearing here,
back to
Andy. What
the.
about you?
So is this the point where you tell us you actually got a 642, but you just doctored the save states and
Oh, no, 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 I'm not
spliced
that.
all the
I'm not.
footage together?
I don't have enough time on Earth to splice save states together. I was very much botch a run, reset, back to the press X to start button.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I never actually. I don't think I actually reset a run, just because it was frustrating anyway. So ruining a run wasn't actually that much more frustrating than just the act of playing the game. To be honest,
That makes sense then.
I think
but
I got
yeah,
the best of both worlds with that, to be honest.
I had big trouble with these stairs. Sometimes the double jump will get you 2 stars. Sometimes it would barely get you one, and I'm presuming it's
Yeah.
because I'm running it into them.
It's
Um,
the yeah, so it's like if there's any if you're like I think it's like if you're impeded by like one frame, it will
mm-hmm.
kill all momentum.
Yep.
Like it's one of those like hypersensitive things which is just unnecessary, you know. Like it's yeah, like I always liked this game as a kid. Like whenever I
Mm-hmm.
never had this game as a kid. It was one of those ones that would have always borrowed from like a friend or a neighbor or something like that, and I liked it playing it. I never completed it, but it was always like you borrow it for like a week or something. You just play it through
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as much as you can, and I liked it because it was something different, a game I didn't have. And even like when I bought it a few years back, I liked it. See speedrunning it? No, no. You
It's
No,
not
man.
actually a game that's actually suited to that speedrunning format because it's
no.
nearly like it's
Um,
too heavily on the platformer side of things, so you can't actually get a good flow.
Well, the platforming thing is fine
Uh,
for speedrunning. It's more just the actual gameplay of it. It's just, if you have to be like incredibly frame specific with your movement and your jumps and everything, like even on that, if you don't hit that in the right place, you don't get a good jump.
yep.
Like you like Lover, you were doing the same jump onto the scales there, but your momentum was different every time, and that makes
Every
absolutely zero sense for something like
every
that.
yeah, yeah. It's one thing. It's one of those things. I think in a platformer, you have to be able to trust what your buttons are going to do. And
Yes.
in this game, I had zero trust that I knew what Buzz was going to do. And I think that is an absolute killer, especially in a platformer.
Yeah,
Especially in a
absolutely.
platformer.
And like I think, it's almost akin to like early Crash Bandicoot as well. Like, if you're a frame off on your jump, you are scraping the platform and you are falling down and it is
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
Heartbreak City. But for some reason with Crash Bandicoot, because like you just look at that and you just think, well, that's okay. It's for some reason it's less rage inducing because it's like more challenging as a game, whereas this is
Hmm.
just kind of, in a sense, poorly developed mechanically
Yeah.
anyway, whereas,
Yeah. I can see what they were going for.
yeah,
I can see I can see the Mario 64 influences all over it.
yeah.
And I can also see the Banjo Kazooie sort of influences on it too. But I don't know who developed this game. They're no Nintendo, nor are they Rare.
I think was it not Activision? I'm pretty sure.
It was
Activision would have
Activision,
been a
yeah.
publisher. They would be publisher.
Um,
Traveller's Tales. It's Traveller's
Traveler's
Tales.
Tales, yeah. Traveler's
Famous for
Tales.
the Lego games now.
Yeah.
Famous for the Lego games. But yeah, so that was my run. My run time was, what was my time?
12 minutes and
4
49 seconds.
12:49. That puts me into a pretty solid second place here. The benchmark time is safe, so it is. But yeah, that disaster. It's still installed in my PlayStation 5. That's because after editing this footage and going, do you know what? I'll give it one more go. I was like, no, I won't. I just turn my PlayStation off. So
Yeah.
I won't go back to it. I will never complete it because I have watched the speed run, the full speed run. The later levels look like they could be a massive pain.
Oh, for
They
sure.
are.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
don't want any of it. I don't want any of those controller and camera issues on much more
Yeah.
intricate levels than this one. So thank you very much, Traveler's Tales. I did not enjoy your game, and I will never play it again. But I know it exists, and I have nice say I've played it, so my opinion is now informed. Thank you very
High
much.
scores, high stakes, review bombing 24-year-old games.
Writing complaint letters to IGN for giving it a 10 back in 1999.
I do have to say though, like, some of the later levels in this game are quite good, and then some of them are equally as bad. Like, um, it's actually one of the most underwhelming ends to a game that you could ever
Okay.
see as well. Like the last level, you fight the prospector and two other of the bosses from other levels, and
Hmm.
it's like a sort of almost like a turn-based kind of thing, and then
They just threw it all together at the very end. That was so
yeah,
odd.
and as soon as you win the boss fight, it just comes up like a screen. Congratulations.
No, it doesn't.
Oh yeah.
It
No,
does.
it doesn't.
Yep. It
Yeah.
just says congratulations. It's like, okay.
Thanks, mate.
No credits, nothing. Just takes you right back to the start. And
No.
yeah, it's just one of those like I say, some of the levels, like Al's Toy Barn is a really good level. Um there was another one. Is Penthouse is actually quite a good level. But then like once you get to like the airport levels, it's just kinda like too platformy for what the game really can offer.
Is yeah.
Yeah. Which is I find, but yeah, I can see, I could see there in your run where the frustrations sort of came from, especially
Yeah, yeah.
especially in a speedrunning setting, because it's not the sort of thing that you kind of register whenever you're just playing the game normally. You just think, oh, I missed that jump, okay, but you're against the clock. It's kind of like, okay, I need to do this. Oh
Yeah.
my god, it's not working.
Yeah.
You really, really pick up on all of the issues within the game.
Yeah, and that's it. Casually, I'm sure this is fine.
Yeah,
But in this sort of setting, yeah, the fall in the garage, I think was, I was like, the last this dead. Do I
Just see
start
it through then,
again?
yeah.
And then I was just like, no, I'm this far in. I might as well just see what the rest of the level is and sort of see what is going to have to be avoided in the next one. And it is frustrating, but yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's not great, but do you know what game is great, Tomahawk?
Do tell us, lover.
Name that game. Let's get there. Name that game, the internet's favorite video game show. I am your host, Mr. Luvva Luvva. And today is a special day because today we're going to do 3 games because this is a one-off sort of celebrity special, if you will. um, I don't know if anyone hasn't seen it yet. Name the game is very simple. I have spent far too much time perusing Amazon's user reviews for PlayStation games, and I have picked the best of the best, the creme de la creme, the cream of the crop of reviews. I'm going to read the reviews, and it's these two's job of, from the information given in the review, to name that game. If after the review no one can name the game, I will give them a clue, and they'll have another guess, and there'll be a second clue and a third clue. So you'll have 4 guesses at each game. If you name the game, you'll get 1 point. If after 3 clues no one can name the game, nobody gets the point. It is very, very simple. The only rule is that when I'm reading the review, no one shouts anything out because let me read the reviews and then we'll see if you can name the game. So the theme of tonight is because we're playing Toy Story 2, I have picked platformers. So all three games are platformers. So Andy, Tomahawk, are you ready to name that game?
Just
I'm
take us
ready.
there.
Okay, game number one. Every element of this game has been lovingly and meticulously honed to perfection. The hand drawn sprites are stunning, the level designs have been lovingly crafted, and the music is a joy to behold. Enemy designs are varied and brilliantly comical. Playable characters are numerous, but a little less creative. Many of the unlocks are the same as the original characters with different color schemes or an additional element added. For example, a helmet. The gibberish version of popular songs never fail to raise a smile in the music levels. Each platform, enemy, and collectible has been placed with meaning and precision. All of these factors add up to a very enjoyable experience, possibly even better than the original. Tomahawk, Andy, name that game.
Oh, I'm just gonna go straight off the bat. Is it Sackboy?
Okay, Andy.
I,
It's not so easy
that's
taking part now, is it?
that has thrown me for a loop because I feel like that could have been a number of things. And whenever you said hand drawn sprites,
Yes.
immediately I thought of, remember that game on like iOS and Android, Doodle Jump? That was
Yes.
the first thing I thought
Oh,
of.
good shout.
But
Yes.
then you said earlier it was like PlayStation games, so like that obviously isn't a PlayStation game. So I highly doubt that it's gonna be Doodle Jump. But I feel
Is
like that.
Doodle Jump going to be your guess?
I mean, I know it's wrong, but yeah.
It is wrong.
What's
It is wrong.
I'll
He's
have
he's
that as
playing
my
for that
guess.
clue.
I'm
He's
playing
playing
for
for
that
that clue.
exactly. I'm playing the game here. You know.
Nobody has guessed the game. So your clue number one. It was designed, directed by Michel Ancel. Name that game.
That does not help in any way, shape, or form.
Think of the name. Think where that person could possibly be from. It's a bigger clue than you think it is.
I've got Mirror's Edge in my mind.
Okay. It's not bad.
Oh, that's a really good guess, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We're
There's a
going with
lot of clues in that review.
platformer, French. I don't know. No, I'm gonna pass because I'm gonna play for the next.
Wow. I thought you were working your way through it there. I thought you were going to get it. It was released in 2014 and it was developed by Ubisoft Montpellier. Name that game. That's a
Damn
massive
it,
clue.
that is a really big clue. It's
Ooh,
It's massive clue.
French Ubisoft.
Ubisoft is kind of I know I feel like I know the franchise, but it's the name of the game is what I
Yep.
am unsure of. But I think it's Rayman.
Okay. Do you want to add anything more to that, or you just want to leave it at Rayman?
I can't remember the name of the game.
Oh, I'm gonna go
I
Rayman
can't.
Legends then.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
That was it. That's what the word I couldn't think of.
That is it. Tomahawk has named that game. It was Rayman Legends. It was
Yeah,
Rayman
boy.
Legends.
I
You were so
literally handed
close.
that to you on a silver platter. Oh my
He
Yeah,
god.
did. He did.
I
You
couldn't
did.
remember. I couldn't remember the subtitle of it, and that was oh my god.
Rayman Legends. Great game. Great game, by the
that's
way.
yeah,
But
that's as good a platformer.
that review, without saying the words Rayman Legends, give you everything you needed to get Rayman Legends. Really good game. Ready for game number two? So it's currently Tom 1, Andy 0. It's a good thing with 3 games. We need a winner here. So game number 2. The twist with this game is that you can fight the final boss at any times, but completing each level will give you what you need to help you in your quest. The platforming levels are accessed via books on the overworld map. By manipulating the books before entering them, you can change the level inside. such as freezing the book to freeze all the water, flooding the book, flipping the book, etc. This means that each level has two versions of itself. The overworld is great to explore, solving clues to riddles, figuring out how to access things you can see, all without fear of failing deadly traps. Name that game.
That is a game I've literally never even heard of. The idea about
Uh,
manipulating books. So this is some sort of cross 2D, 3D platformy type.
So think about what he's telling you there. So what if you imagine Mario 64, but like with a Super Mario World map, and rather than going into paintings, you're going into books. That's how you
Oh,
select
it's
your
Paper
level.
Mario Curse of something doodad. I'm gonna lock that
Curse of
answer in.
Okay. I've never heard of that Paper
I
Mario, but okay.
I think you're thinking of the Thousand Year Door. Tom,
Yes.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah.
but okay, and this is a PlayStation game, right?
Yes.
Or yeah, okay, so it's definitely not Paper Mario. Um, I'm gonna pass on this one.
Okay, no problem. Clue number 1. It wasn't Mario. Clue number 1 is it is a sequel to another Kickstarter game. Name that game.
Oh, I was gonna say It Takes Two, but I have a feeling that's
That wasn't
completely
Kickstarter.
3D. No, that wasn't a Kickstarter either.
It's Ubisoft, I think.
Is it?
I think so, yeah. Andy.
Goat Simulator.
Oh
Okay.
dear.
Nobody has named that game. Clue number 2. It is made by original members of Rare. Name that game.
Rare should be up your street, Andy.
Yep.
It should be, but I can't really think of any games developed by Rare that are on the PlayStation. Only Xbox and Nintendo.
I think
I never
it's gonna be
said it was
cross-platform
developed
then.
by Rare. It was made of by
Four
former
members by
members of
okay.
Rare.
Um, it's the ki- it's
These
the
are
it,
tricky.
it's the Kickstarter game that
Yep.
is what's getting me because I don't really know any games that were made as Kickstarters.
Is it?
Okay.
Is it Limbo?
Tis not Limbo.
Oh,
I'm gonna go on a limb and say The Binding of Isaac.
Tis not The Binding of Isaac. Nobody has named it. This is the last clue. The title, the lead characters, and the game structure was all heavily inspired by Banjo Kazooie. Name that game. I'll give you one extra clue. Free. The names of the main characters is also directly copied from Banjo Kazooie.
Ukulele.
Tom?
no, but I don't know. I don't
I'm
know.
gonna give
I don't know.
I'm gonna give Andy the point.
Okay.
Just for the drama. Okay? So it was Ukulele and the Impossible Lair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not with a million guesses on that one. Sorry.
It was
So
a hard one. So the
ukulele.
scores.
Yeah. When you said inspired by Banjo Kazooie, so yeah, because I actually recently bought ukulele on the Switch,
Mhm.
because you know that's what I knew about it, and it was supposed to be. So when I looked into it, it was supposed to be like the reboot of Banjo Kazooie. That's what it
Yep.
was supposed to be seen as, but
Yep.
it wasn't a success. It's okay. It's fine. It's just yeah. If you've played the one, you've played them all, kind of thing.
Is this
Yeah.
like cult classic type game, really,
No,
or
no, not at all.
It's not even no. Like like so. Like in terms of that, Banjo Kazooie would be the cult classic kind of game. This is just like we wanted to
inspired.
appeal to a more
Oh, okay.
contemporary audience, and it just didn't
Yeah.
land. I
Yeah,
mean,
so the Impossible Lair is slightly different. It is 2D. It's It's a 2D side
Okay.
scroller.
Never
So
knew
it
that.
is.
Never knew that.
It's meant to be way better. But I've never played it because it's not my jam.
Yeah.
Are we ready for game number 3? The scores are tied. Andy has one. Tom has one. The
Okay,
scores are
yeah,
tied.
let's do it.
Let's do
We're
it.
going to the third quarter here, boys. This is it. The last game. Winner takes it all. This game is great if you're
Good stuff.
into classic style platform gameplay. That's not what this is about, though. The release date delivery service is shocking. Should be coming today. I ordered it over a week ago, and it's not even out for delivery or anywhere near me. Thank you, Amazon. Ordered here because the comic book skins that come with it should have just gone to the local shop or ordered from Shop 2 instead. Cheaper and better service. I can only recommend ordering it from here if you literally don't have any civilization around you, and or if you're not bothered about getting it on release day. The gist of it is this. The game is good. The game characters are good. It looks good. The music is great. But Amazon service, it's bad. You that game.
I like that that doesn't review the game; it just bashes Amazon.
Yeah.
There's bits in there though. That's why I picked this one. There's
Yeah.
bits in there.
I'm gonna say Lego Marvel.
Okay. Tom?
Is it some sort of Sonic game?
I need something more than is
Yeah,
it a
that's a
Sonic
question.
game?
It's not a guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Sonic Legends.
Okay. Nobody has named that game.
Okay.
Clue number 1. It is a sequel to a classic game released all the way back in 1991. Name that game.
Gonna let Andy go first on this one.
1991 makes me think it's Sonic related or something along those lines.
Okay.
Um,
It's a comic skin that's throwing me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
The
Sonic.
comic skin's a massive clue.
I'm gonna say Sonic Heroes.
Okay. Tom.
I'm gonna go with. No, I wasn't. I was gonna say Spider-Man of some description, but I definitely don't think that that's.
I mean,
Love is giving me the eye. Oh, I'm going to take a clue on this one, so I'm going to pass. This hopefully
Okay.
might give it a bit more.
It was released in 2023. Name that game.
2023.
Yep.
2023 comic book strip platformer sequel in 91.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a lot.
There's a lot in this.
There's a lot in that, is right. Not a lot for my little tiny brain, but there we are.
See, for a game released this year,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a sequel to assumingly a classic game from 1981.
Yep.
This one should be fairly obvious.
Yes, it
But,
is.
Yeah.
That's why I picked a rather obscure review of it.
Yeah.
Because
I can't
everything
even
else was
think about
just
what's
too
come out
obvious.
recently. Like,
Is
You
it
can
Crash
pass if
Bandicoot
you want.
4?
That came out in 2022, but that's your guess.
Oh, it's just
2021 maybe?
20.
yeah, Crash Bandicoot 4 has been out for years.
Yeah,
I would even go as far to say 2018, 2019.
possibly.
No,
Yeah.
not that far, but
Oh yeah, because I remember it was a massive deal when that came out,
Yeah.
and like it was definitely. I'm pretty sure it was pre-COVID.
Yeah, I think it's 2020 because I think it came out after Spyro Reignited trilogy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Andy, what's your guess?
1991 is what's.
You're on the right track, both of yous. Apart from Tom with Crash 4, completely wrong track.
PlayStation game came out this year. That's the kicker for me. This is where my Nintendo brain is just like
Yep.
completely failing me right now.
Yep.
Um,
Throw out a name.
I'm gonna pass. I'm afraid.
Okay.
Ah,
Last
I know.
clue.
I know.
Last clue. It is the latest sequel in a franchise of games that has over 20 entries, and it is one of only 3 games that was not wholly developed by the team named after the game. Name that game.
20
Both of you have
entries.
mentioned the correct franchise. Both of you have mentioned the correct franchise. I just need a game name.
It's
Name
Sonic
that game.
It's Sonic. Yeah.
Heroes.
I said Sonic Heroes.
He didn't.
I did.
He
That
did,
was that. So you
And
said
Sonic
you,
Heroes was
you said
released in like
Sonic.
2004, not 2023. Tom, is this going to be a draw, or is Andy going to pull the right game out of the sky?
The only other Sonic game I can think of, I didn't even know there was one released this year. The only other one I can think of is Sonic Frontiers, but that was on the Wii in like 2007. Unless there was a remake of that.
This is gonna kill me because you know what? Actually, as soon as you've so now that I know it's a Sonic game, and I've already thrown out the wrong guess, I was looking at the PlayStation Store earlier, and now I know exactly which one.
Yep. It's a pretty big game. So Sonic Frontiers, that your guess, Andy?
Yeah, I know it's a throwaway, but unfortunately, that's what it.
Like, I mean, right now it's
Yep.
for the naught that it's worth. It's Sonic Superstars, but there we are.
Sonic Superstars. Sonic Frontiers was last year. But that means at the end of our sibling rivalry episode, it has ended with a draw. So, of course, the team that wholly produced it, it's only one of 3 games they didn't wholly produce. It's called Sonic Team. Sonic Team.
Okay.
Incredible.
And there we go. A draw. All that build up for a draw. Hang your heads in shame, gentlemen.
Well,
Dear,
I mean,
dear, dear.
I was close with Sonic Frontiers, even though I did think it came out in 2007, which I'm pretty sure it did as well.
It was last year. It came out in 2022.
What was the one on the Wii then? Like
Sonic and the Lost Rings, Sonic and the Black Knight, or Sonic 06?
I feel like, well, yeah, well, okay. I mean, I was still closer with
He's the quiz
Frontiers
master.
in a
He
way.
bloody well knows.
No,
Sonic
I don't
Frontiers
doubt that. It's
was
just because
was last
I
year.
was just convinced that it was like I was convinced we had it on the Wii or Matthew had it on the Wii or something.
No,
You
no.
know, but there was
Sonic and
definitely a
the-
Sonic game, but it might have been Sonic Heroes.
Yeah, or Sonic of the other two I mentioned, Sonic and the Black Knight.
Possibly.
Random game developed by created by Mark Cerny, the Black Knight series. So it was just side note, a wee bit of a PlayStation link there into your Sega games. And speaking of quick links, let's link into Tom's attempt of Toy Story 2. The state of play as it stands is Andy's time of 6:43 was nearly doubled by me. So that was pathetic, really. And that means that the pride of this podcast, our reputation, and our more importantly, our unbeaten streak in side quests is in very real peril here, Tom. So we need you in this run
Step up.
to step up to the plate for once, be a man, and take down your younger brother.
I mean, a sibling beatdown is what the listeners want to see. Is sibling
That's
beatdown?
what it's
I'll
all
absolutely
it's all
give them.
about.
Yes.
It's what it's all about. So I am going to let you take the stage, the mic, and run with it. And whenever you're ready, mate, you can hit that play
That's
button.
it. So we don't have fancy tickers and score cards on our views. So you're just gonna have to trust me as I say. This is a good run. If it wants to play, so off the bat, I'm just getting coins, shooting everything that moves, and speed and precision is the aim of the game.
Yep.
And I tried that and realized that
Yeah.
doesn't work, and it's
It's so.
just as handy to climb the whole rope. And I figured I'm just going to
Um,
go straight up.
Oh.
See, I did
I've
definitely try to do that, but it really didn't work for me. Like I was able to get like the movement up poles and the ropes and stuff, but not able to do that from the rope up to the frame. So that's kind of cool.
I will admit that I did kill a second there trying to get the coins again, but I'm
Yeah.
cutting as many corners as I can. I'm trying to find any bit and any sort of hitbox that I can manipulate and try
Mhm.
and get even the getting the sheep on the fall.
Yeah, I noticed that
I
as
am
well, which
doing
was
what
quite
I
good.
can.
I'm not gonna lie. It's quite impressive. It's fast. So
The
you
thing
were
that does
very
slow me down
brave.
is that having to target the robot without actually going into first person mode.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was like a big one because like we even saw in Lova's run where the time you missed and you don't have time to charge up the laser again.
No.
And that is like a massive like time killer.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That was very, very, very good. I found in some of my runs it was just easier to run up to the robot and then you get guaranteed to hit him. But you're wasting time running towards him. Look at that. That is
That
nice.
is
See, I
clean.
did. I remember you were saying an awful lot about these blind jumps, and this is pretty much what I just exploited the whole way through. I was like, I'm not messing around here. I've done enough efforts and enough attempts at this
Yeah.
that I more or
Yeah.
less know where everything is at, and I just need to just take a leap of faith, really, and just hope that I'm gonna land roughly where I need to.
Yeah, it's
Given
going
the
well.
mechanics of the game, that's like all you can really do as well, I
That's
think.
it. Well, we're 18 coins in, and we're 2 sheep in, and we've got 1 token, so we are.
Unbelievable.
No,
I'm
Unbelievable.
absolutely thunder gunning it here.
it is a heater, like, it is. I'm I'm
Now, I
actually
don't know if did any of you
nervous.
notice this? Did any of you notice this little
On the cup?
texture?
Okay.
Nope.
No, no.
So that one is because if you try and reach the wheel arch, you'll hit the bottom of the lamp. So you actually
Right.
Ah.
Okay.
you'll clip the lamp and you'll fall off.
Mm.
So
Okay,
I
that's
found
good.
if you
Right.
balance on the cup, you will just set yourself up enough to grab the ledge on the light.
Yeah, so just like that little boost of like an extra frame or
Exactly.
two. Yeah, of course. That's
This
clever.
is
I didn't even,
this is clever.
I feel like I definitely could have saved about 20 seconds off my run had I took that, had I known that,
Yeah,
but no.
that is very, very clever indeed.
Mm.
You're flying, so that's another one. He's still racing.
And RC is
Oh yeah,
still
he's
racing, but the
racing.
problem
Yeah.
is
He's
if he just gets in your way, he will just drive straight through you
Oh
basically. And
yeah,
then I forgot that it's not a sharper right turn as I'd hoped, and I've gone try to
Aye.
you see when you do things like that as well, like when you're speedrunning, you really do get conscious of the time that you lose from the little bits of movement, and it is like it really does bring your like awareness of it like through the roof
Look
in
at
for probably the
this.
worst reasons.
That is
This
unbelievable.
is
That.
good movement. This is like.
I panicked in the jump there as my little spin around proved.
Yeah.
I went to go and run it, and I was like, no, I'm not set up for it, and I bottled it a little bit, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're on
that's
track. We're making some
you're
pace here at the minute.
you're flying here. Absolutely flying. Oh my god.
Now I
this
noticed
is
the
this
key
is
is you don't have to move that middle box, you just have to move the tallest box.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did the exact same thing and it worked for me.
Yeah.
I will admit I'm getting concerned.
I kind of wish I had a thing for splits now just to see where we are, because I know for a fact if I wiggle the cursor here, I'm going to
Oh yeah, it'll
That's a
spoil
it'll
great
the
give you the
objective.
magic.
full time here.
I'm looking
But
at this here and I'm absolutely reeling at some of the movement here.
It's
It is
unbelievable. You skip the vast majority of the basement
it sickens me.
by using the banister on 2
that
occasions.
banister
And
took an eternity to get that little texture clip just so I could be lined up for that. And there's another sort of bit of a failing.
You're
The
very
grabbing the high
safe.
chair, if you're not lined up perfectly to it,
Yep.
you'll not grab it.
Yeah.
So
The same thing
third,
happened to me. I think I went through it.
the
This
one
is
problem I think I did have is I'm seeing here I've got 38 coins,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and all I have to do is get the sheep and then
Yep.
go collect the coins. I still am a bit short here,
Yep. Yeah.
and I'm
You're
running
only
out of real
5
estate.
short. You're only 5 short, and there is some in the living room you haven't picked up, isn't there?
That's a great strat.
That's
That right there.
Just
That
a
is brilliant.
blind, but again, it's just another
Just
blind
the
jump.
yeah. But like the butt pound as well to help momentum. Clever.
But that's all you can ever do. You can't actually like, not in this version anyway that I've done. You can't just jump on the scales and get it to catapult you across the way. You have to use the ground pound essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is it. One more
But then I get
coin.
myself all turned around there because the camera is facing the wrong way. So I nearly a struggle just to get through the door. Then
Yeah. And then this is it. You're going to
all I just got to
deliver
do
this
is
last coin to Ham and go over the finish line in a time
Wow.
of 6 minutes and 39 seconds, beating Andy's
Oh,
time by 4 seconds.
that's
That is
tight.
tight.
That is
that's
tight.
unbelievable. That's
Okay, so
unbelievable.
my question to you then, right, is whenever you were watching me do this yesterday, like, what was
Oh,
your
I watched
reaction?
you do no. I watched you do one run, and it
Oh,
was
did
the run
you
that you submitted. That's all I
the
actually had
last
saw.
the last one that I
Yeah.
did, right? Oh, okay. So like
Oh, I'd done
whenever
about 400 runs before
yeah.
yours, so like
So whenever what was your like live reaction whenever I said I'm not doing this anymore. This is the one I'm gonna submit.
I have to get my skates on.
Oh, so you did that after? You did this after?
I think I said to the boys in chat, I
Yeah.
have a 70-second deficit to overturn.
Yep.
Oh, I. ah, but you
Yep.
had the benchmark prior to doing like your run.
Well, yeah, I sort of thought I was confident. I saw your one confirmed final submission, and I went, actually, I may get my skates on. And even I had the boys go, you kind of need, you're the closest one.
Yeah.
You need
Okay.
to bridge that gap.
So what I'm
Yep.
hearing here is it's nothing more than a hollow victory.
No, not at all. It's I fully made my submission comes well within the deadline.
This
Yep.
is why yeah, an extended deadline based on internal politics of not wanting to lose to a guest.
I mean, you say conspiracy, I say this is just how we work.
I
No, I mean no,
hear better loser.
I say it's moving the goalposts, but it's you guys make the rules, so like I can't really complain.
All I'm saying is, I don't know what's going on here right now, but I'll tell you what has happened. Tom has beat your run by 4 seconds, mate.
He has. I will. Do you know what? I will happily, graciously accept the defeat. Um, However, Tom, I would like to propose a counter challenge.
Oh dear.
Ooh.
I'd like
Grudge
to
chip.
propose.
Here
Okay.
we go.
So my challenge to you is, and I'm sure you can guess where this is going, but
Is it a 16-star run on Mario? Because I'll
it is
world record it. It's fine.
it is a 16-star speedrun on Mario 64, right? But what you have to do is you have to beat that in the time it takes me to do a 70-star run.
Whoa.
Oh,
Easy, mate.
No,
I like that.
Easy.
but okay, this is on minimal practice, so you're not allowed to grind and do runs before to try and BS your
I
way to
like
an
this.
easy victory.
I like this. He tells me I move the goalposts. Look.
Oh yeah,
And then
yeah.
moves the
I'm just moving them right back here. You know.
Like you're moving them into a different sport.
Exactly. You know.
We'll put a pin on that one because I'm actually intrigued about that idea, but I
So,
may need. I will require a bit of coaching first. But
no, absolutely. Like I will
we'll,
happily show you the glitches, the skips, and so you can do them comfortably, but only individually and not in a run. And I will do a 70-star run, and the lower time wins. Now, for reference, my 16-star time is 1947. An average first ever 16-star run could be anything about an
I'll just
hour.
take 4 seconds off it. It'll be grand.
Be easy.
My 70-star PB currently is an hour 5 minutes. So that's the rough benchmark at the moment until I can, start running
We
this
will
again.
put a pin on that one because I do I quite like the idea of that.
It's okay. But that is my that is my counter challenge proposal in result to Toy Story Gate here.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of gates, let's close the gate on this challenge and we'll talk about it afterwards, boys.
Fair.
And that's it. Another dramatic end to another dramatic challenge. And another challenger getting sent
Dispatched.
packing with the tail between the legs. Talk of conspiracies here. There are no conspiracies. Only high level speedrun gameplays being done here tonight.
Of course,
Andy.
of course. The speedrunner has been out speedrun, as it were.
You've sped run yourself into trouble in the form of Tomahawk. That's what's happened.
Is resident speedrunner here. That's what I do.
To infinity and beyond.
That's what Tom does. He speed runs platformers, not religiously or anything, but he does them. He does them pretty well.
He dabbles. He
As
dabbles.
and when
mean,
required.
Yep,
that was a very good run.
it was.
I'm not gonna lie. As impressive as Andy's was, and it wasn't, yours was extremely impressive, and it's a sort of feat I could only dream of doing in Toy Story 2. I got nowhere near it. I think my fastest time was 11:30, and I was like, I'm never getting anywhere near a sub 10. Never. I don't have the interest. I don't have a desire. And more importantly, this week, I didn't have the time to really dedicate 4 or 5, 6 hours that sort of challenge requires.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it didn't. But it was overall, bad game.
I think maybe are we critiquing it harshly based on the challenge at hand, or is
Yes.
it maybe just a passable platformer?
But all we can do is judge the game on how and why we played it.
Yeah, sure.
Is it a bad game? Yay or nay? I think I think it's a bad speedrunning game. And I think for the time it released, it was behind the times. There was far better examples of 3D platformers on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
There was also a lot worse.
For sure.
Was it a bad game? Probably not on the grand scheme of things. I think it's harsh to review a game that released in 1999 in 2023. So let's go back to the time it
Absolutely.
released.
Yeah.
Was it a bad platform in the PlayStation 1? No.
At time of
Was it-
release, no. What you have to remember. It's a film tie-in
Yeah.
Yes.
to a then sort of established franchise.
And Traveler's Tales probably got 9 months to make it.
Exactly.
And
I think, in grand scheme of things, in the time it was released, solid. You can see why it's reviewed in the
Well,
7s and 8s. Really,
it
I fully
reviewed
understand
well.
that.
I think a 7 back in 1999 is the equivalent of a 5 now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
If that makes sense. A 7, it wasn't a bad game back in the 90s. It just wasn't.
That's. I mean, we've said about how the PlayStation has churned out games and titles over its lifespan of its consoles, and I think for however many are out in the world at a 7 or 8 rating, you'll
Fine.
take like that. That the devs will take that absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it has issues.
Yeah.
But a lot of the issues it has weren't
It's
exclusive to
age.
Toy Story. No, even back in the day, like iffy controls were everywhere. I'm struggling to think of a PlayStation game that doesn't have some sort of like acclimatization period where you have to get used to the controls.
Yeah.
Bad cameras existed in 3D platformers up until Super Mario Galaxy. Some would argue they still exist in 3D
Oh yeah,
platformers.
absolutely,
A
100%.
lot of the issues we have highlighted tonight um, aren't exclusive to Toy Story 2, to be
No.
fair to it. Its enemy placement's not bad. The item placement's not bad. It's not cheap. And it didn't do things to trick the player either. It's just a very straightforward, this is a bog standard run of the mill platform game, but you give us 9 months to a year to make it, and that's all we can do in
Yeah,
the time.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think because it's specifically a movie tie-in, whereas like if you look at like games now that are like movie tie-ins, like we'll take Spider-Man for example,
Yeah.
that's less of a movie tie-in now than it is like a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Like whereas
Mm-hmm.
like the all the games from like days past where they were specific to a movie. Like take The Mummy for example, or The Mummy Returns, the game
Mm-hmm.
of that. Absolute, it was garbage.
Yep.
Like it was just, but you could tell it was rushed. Graphically it was fine, but control
But
wise,
that's it.
mechanically it was god
You want to
awful.
put it in when it's still in the relevancy and lifespan of
Yes,
maybe the movie cycle as well.
exactly. So like these games, they're not setting out to be groundbreaking, revolutionary titles. It's just more to boost the franchise that they're a part of. Like,
Yeah.
that is it's more done for like the movie's sake than it is like the game itself because like like okay, back in like 99 whenever this game was released, right? People weren't looking and like being, "Oh my god, the controls of this are rubbish." Like, the textures are all, that's
Mm-hmm.
just like us in
It's a
2023
victim of
having
where
been
we are now.
exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Like we've been
It's
exposed to like essentially now games are coming out in 4K and it's like,
yeah.
mocap and
Yeah.
everything's all people were just happy to see something familiar back
I
then.
would love to have seen like behind the scenes and they've actually got mocapped actors playing Buzz can't texture grab a high chair.
I, that's why it's so iffy because the dude was just too big. He's like trying to grip on. It's yeah. It's not about
No.
I've been particularly treating it harsh, but it's not a dreadful game. It was a good challenge. I wish I had more time to dedicate to it and give it an
Mhm.
actual proper showing in this rather than what I had to produce. But it is what it is. But
Yeah.
it is another win for the podcast. Tomahawk, well done.
Of course.
That's
Well
it.
And
done.
yes,
Take that.
well done. Well done. I will congratulate you guys on this. I will graciously accept defeat.
Now that he's finally decided to submit and cower to his victor, really, that leaves us with just a few more things to talk about. Thankfully, it's not a 7 minutes social media roundup. It's not going to be that, but let's get to the roundup section. That is it, guys. Another episode wrapped up. It is done. Second episode of the side quests nicely ticked off the list. That leaves us then to tell you what's happening next week. We have another guest episode where another person has come to the podcast to try to take the crown off our heads. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to tell you who the guest is. I'm not going to tell you what the game is because that's part of the fun of high scores, high
Oh, going
stakes.
back to the old ways.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Um, the only thing I will say is I will recap exactly where you can find out what we're doing, where to best find our videos, our podcasts, our everything else. It is highstakes.com, where you'll find absolutely everything you need to know about us. And Andy, if you want to remind everyone where they can find your stuff as well, mate.
You can find me on twitch.tv/AndyGames_94 and on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all under the handle AndyGames_94 because simplicity.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Beautiful. make sure you do check out Andy's live streams. They are very, very fun. And if you're particularly vocal in chat, you can make him run around like a headless chicken in Resident Evil, and it's great crack.
Yeah, and I definitely do not get emotional on my live streams as well.
I mean,
It's a sight to behold.
if that's not a reason to watch his stream, I don't know what is. And on that note, that leaves me with just one more thing to say. I've been Mr. Luvva Luvva. This has been High Scores, High Stakes. See you Monday. Love y'all. Bye.